BSN, the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
But I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I'm 2 plus 2, I'm for show. You down, I'm down, baby, let's go. You stop, you drop, baby, then roll. You twerk, you pop, booty so swole. I'd hate me too if I were you. And when it comes to billions, I'll take 2. It's only one life, you don't get 2. So live life, don't let it live you.
I got a pocket full of $100 bills. Put on a jacket, cause these diamonds give you chills. 2 shots are running, 2 out, I'm stunning tonight. Tonight, yeah. Look in the mirror, I'm like, who the hell is he? So many whips and cribs, I'm losing track of keys. Ooh, up to something, ooh, yeah, I love it, alright. Alright.
Yeah, I'm drinking out the bottle. Get loose, hanging with supermodels. Get loose, feel like I hit the lotto. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good.
And again, I don't know about you. I don't know about Ryan. I don't know about anybody else. But for right now, I know I'm feeling good. It is Monday, November 27th. Welcome to Martinez Company. It is Angel Martinez, Ryan F. here live in the Tampa studios. And wherever you may be, it's great to be with you guys as we come back from the Thanksgiving break. I don't know how many are fat and happy at this point, but nevertheless, I hope you spend time with your family. I hope you spend time with your friends. Enjoyed it, have fun, all that stuff that comes along with this. So I just hope that everyone had a fulfilling time with their family and friends, more importantly. And we thank you for coming back here to listen to us at Martinez & Company from 6 to 8 p.m., Monday through Friday, except for the weekends. But nonetheless, we are here, Ryan, Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. And coming up next week, December 4th, A.J. Johnson from the Bleacher Brothers. And yes, AJ is the same guy who covers FAU football. So he will be on after us at 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Then after that, we'll be closing out the show as we normally do, or closing out the week, I should say, on Friday nights as we've been for the month and a week. But who's counting once again? But man, oh man, what a weekend. What a college weekend. What an NFL weekend. Just what a weekend altogether. It's just been fantastic. We do have our guest, Edgar Thompson, that will be with us. He was supposed to come on at 6 o'clock, but he'll be coming on at 7 p.m. So an hour from now, we'll speak to Edgar. We'll get into some Florida Gators. As you guys know, Ryan being the Gator, damn it, I can't even say Gator hater. That sucks. I got nothing to rhyme with Gator.
Why would I be a Gator hater? I'm not a Gator hater.
I know. I'm trying to figure out like what rhymes are. I'm trying to make some sort of rhyme for your Gators, sir.
I'm a little Gator flavor. How's that?
Oh, Jesus. You know what?
A little Gator flavor.
No. I should just, I shouldn't have said a word. But anyways, he's here nonetheless. So we're having fun. Just a lot to get into, obviously, tonight. As, again, we're getting into some NFL stuff. Lots and lots of things are going to happen tonight, which is a great thing. Also doing, if I can look over real quick, kind of like looking over my shoulder, but I'm going to look over this way, bring something up as we are live here, as I'm trying to attest. And by the way, Tony Bruno on just before us, and then Pete, excuse me, goodness, I had something in my throat there. Pete Shepherd was on from 7 to 10 this morning. You guys, I'm a huge fan of Pete. Did a fantastic job this morning. Default and Luby sounding great once again. So hopefully that's all done. So you guys can continue listening to the Default and Luby show from 10 to 12. Then, of course, the best stuff from 12 to 3. Tony Bruno, the man himself, the legend, with Miss Robin, was just on 2 phenomenal guests as always, having fun. And it's always great to hear, not even just the best of, throughout the entire day, throughout the weekend. You guys know it. It was on throughout the entire weekend, commercial free. So if you guys missed it, well, now the commercials are back. But nonetheless, it was a great one. So Tony, Miss Robin on from 3 to 6. They were live just about a couple minutes ago, about 5 or 6 minutes ago. And then, of course, myself and Ryan here from 6 to 8 p.m. as I'm trying to look for something. And I have to flip this back. But I got to make sure to take a look. Yep. The good thing is the test link is running on the X or Twitter, whichever way you guys want to call it. So that's up and running. So there's a test stream there to make sure to see if that works out just fine. But as we get into some of the highlights here, and by the way, we would like to know, as you guys, we know we ask a question every single week that we post in the beginning of the show. How is either your weekend? How are things going? How do you view your personalities? All that good fun stuff. But today's question, what ended up being is, how would you rate the halftime show? The halftime show.
Which one?
Yeah. Well, it's just, listen, we'll get into it. Believe me, we will get into it. But there was a late message that came in. I thought I was coming in from now, but it's a late message that came in from AJ from San Antonio that was back at 3:50. But yeah, we'll get into what you guys thought of the halftime show, which Detroit, I know Tony and Miss Robin just touched on it. What was that? Those props were the worst freaking ever. The worst ever.
That's Detroit for you.
Yeah, exactly. Pat Bernard, what's up, fellas?
Not only did the Lions play like ass, but the halftime show was more ass, can I say? Can I say it was more ass than the football game was? Yeah,
it was. I'd have to agree. I don't, Dolly Parton, I have no problem with. I know some people had.
Even that.
Well, no, come on. Listen, she's what, 71, 77 years old, something like that?
Did her face move other than her lips? I mean, her whole face, didn't move. You know what I mean?
It did move.
A lot of work, my friend.
From one stage to the other.
A lot of work.
Well, listen, if you're healthy enough, I guess to say that at that age, okay, first of all, how many actual women at her age will be able to fit in those Dallas Cowboys cheerleader shorts?
Like I said, it's a lot of work.
I know. I'm not trying to go to work. Give the woman a break. Goodness gracious.
And she was lip syncing. And then, wasn't she at? Yeah, she was at the Tennessee game too.
Yeah.
She was at Tennessee Vanderbilt. So she was all over the place flaunting. You know what I mean? It's just enough with the Dolly Parton stuff. Enough. I get it. She's 77. Her figure hasn't changed. But like I said, there's a lot of work that went into that.
Hey, listen, a lot of work. Okay, that's fine. There's a lot of work that went with it. But either way, it's fine. It's Dolly Parton. She's the most lovable person in the world, no matter what you look at. And okay, first of all, who in the world is going to say something truly? Let's be honest here. Who in the world is going to truly say something negative about Dolly Parton I listen, don't care about, the facial work and all that stuff. But you think about it. The only probably country entertainer, the biggest one in our lifetime, other than like Johnny Cash and some other ones that have passed on, but she continues to do more and more for the community. So therefore, and I know there's going to be people, I know they'll want to say whatever they want to say. Listen, whatever floats their boat. My thing is that you just can't, I'm not going to say anything negative. I'll put it that way. I enjoyed it. I obviously, I don't like the Cowboys, so I enjoyed the halftime show. And the Cowboys, listen, if we're really going to get into it, I know I got a whole slew of things that are coming up. We got some college talk, NFL talk, just hang in there, folks. We had the topic that we talked about. How would you rate the halftime show? Please text in or call in the show or make your live comments at 844-644-8669. 844-644-8669. I had another number in my head. I had to make sure I had to read that one out loud because if not, that might have been a little bit of a problem. But if you look at it, how many Cowboys fans, if there's a Cowboys fan that's listening in from somewhere, anywhere, from whatever, there isn't by any means whatsoever. There isn't by any means anyone that's going to come in and say something differently as far as when it comes to the Cowboys, because the teams that they should beat, and everybody knows this, the teams that they should be beating, they're what?
What's that?
The teams that they should be
The
beating.
teams that they're beating?
Yeah.
Here we go.
What? Say it.
Yes, they have not beaten a team with a winning record. I get it. But your Eagles have the Rams, the Buccaneers. They lost to the Jets. The Patriots stink out loud. So, I mean, you can say that about, Cowboys, the Bears, and somebody else. 3 teams that haven't beaten a team with a winning record. You can only play the teams that were put on your schedule. So, if people want to keep bringing that up, that's fine. Whatever.
Why shouldn't they bring it up?
Whatever.
So now
I'm gonna take note of this because I had to hear it from you. You know what? When I was watching the Eagles game yesterday, bouncing back and forth the red zone while the Chiefs game was on, and yes, I did text Angel. I'm like, the Chiefs suck. They're playing like they know they're not going to go anywhere, and then all of a sudden they flip the switch and boom. So I even have a friend that's an Eagles fan. After the game was over, he says to me, people were blowing up my phone after the first 10 minutes saying we stink. The first team we play, this is substance or whatnot, other than the Chiefs and the Dolphins, they're not going to go anywhere. And this, he even gets sick of it. So, and again, it's just, I get it. We're fanatics. We're fans. The whole schmagiggy. I get it. But I'm just going to say to everybody out there that, favorite team or whatnot. Yes, the Eagles are 10-1. They have the best record in football. But guess what? None of this means diddly squat if you don't win the chip and you don't win the ring, you don't win the trophy, whatever you want to call it. None of this is going to matter. So I don't want to hear all you Eagles fans complain when something happens. Let's say they go 15-1, 16-1. And let's say they get bounced in the first round of the playoffs. I don't want to hear it. Angel?
Yeah, sorry. I had to respond back because for
That's
some reason,
okay.
on the app. Sorry. Listen, you got to multitask when you do stuff. You become your own engineer, everything else. But the app, for some reason, I had to refresh the screen. So that's why I had to kind of mute myself there for a second. If you guys are listening on the app, hopefully we'll come back here. For some reason, I don't know why, they just decided to okay. Nope, it came back. All right, there you go. I just heard Ryan. So, sorry, there was a little bit of a glitch there that went on, but we are back here live, and I do see a text that came in. AJ from San Antonio says, don't blame Jack Harlow or Steve Aoki for awful halftime shows. They had Gator flavor. Listen, I'm not hearing no Gator flavor nothing, AJ. Jesus. I don't even want to get into it as far as the Gators, but whatever. AJ, love you. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. As always, and everybody else, again, if you want to text and call into the show, by all means, go ahead and text or call the show at 844-644-8669, 844-644-8669. Also, so the app is back. That's good. I got the okay from Miss Robin. Let me double check just to make sure. All right. Yep. She said we're good again. So just had to do one of those quick magical refreshes, and then poof, everything goes back to life. So, anywho, there was something else going back to your Dallas situation here. Listen, I know you came at yesterday talking about the Eagles got lucky. Listen, lucky is for horseshoes. Lucky is for Lucky Charms. Lucky my ass. That was a good, hard-fought game. I don't care what you say. That was a great, hard-fought game by the Eagles. Dallas, and I'm gonna keep talking about it until the time they face us again. But come on, Ryan, be truthful here. Look at the teams that Dallas have played, other than the Eagles earlier on, which that was a grueling matchup. But every other team, the Giants, seriously, even the Giants fans know they can't even get a hold of control of their quarterback. Tommy DeVito, apparently, who everybody's in love with, and doing the Italian sign to say, what's the matter or whatever else that goes on with that. No disrespect to the Italians, none whatsoever, because obviously the boss is Italian. But, I thought it was okay. But now apparently they want to continue on with Mac Jones or whomever else is freaking Daniel Jones. And, one of those Joneses, they want to keep up with it in New York. So to me, that doesn't make any sense. It's a waste of a season anyways. They're not coming back to win anything. So for anybody, listen, make the arguments. I don't care. Call up, say anything differently. To me, I'm sorry, Dallas fans, It's not happening. AJ, thank you for checking back. Says you're back up and running. I appreciate it. Thanks to AJ for tuning in as always. But thank you so much. But that's my. I'm sorry. Dallas. There's no way, dude. I'm not giving you Dallas. First of all, you're not even a Dallas fan anymore. You're a KC fan. And by the way, your team finally figured out how to score in the second half. And nothing against the Raiders either, but they found it. They found their rhythm, at least for one game. I do have the post-game talk with Andy Reid in the locker room, along with Nick Sirianni. I'll bring that up a little bit later on. But I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm not giving Dallas any credit whatsoever because and I don't care if ESPN, NFL Network, I don't care who in the hell says it. I'm just telling you that Dallas is beating teams by landslide that they should. And they struggled a couple of times with teams that basically are horrific. So anything else you would like to add to your Dallas Cowboy tribute?
You could say that about any team, though. You could say that about any team. Yes, Dallas struggled with the Cardinals. You guys lost to the Jets.
Okay, the one loss. Seriously, that's what you want to bring up. The one stinging loss to the Jets. Yeah, everybody
You
knew
struggled with the Patriots. You struggled with the Vikings. You struggled with a couple other teams.
I'm sorry, but are we win or loss on those teams?
And that's why I said from my original statement is Eagles fans are all gung-ho right now. You're 10-1. Congratulations. You won 10 out of 11 games. But what's going to happen in the playoffs? Let's just say, Angel, and it's just hypothetical. Let's say the Eagles go, 14-3. What if they get bounced in the first round?
Then you got to come back next year. What else do you want me to say? You got to come back next year. I'm not going to pout. What the hell am I going to do? I don't get paid by the team.
But just as Cowboy fans annoy Eagles fans, the one thing that annoys me about Eagles fans or Philadelphia fans across the board, just like my buddy was saying, he's like, I can't tell you. The Bills were up 17-7. I got Eagles fans. My buddies are blowing up my phone saying we suck. What is this? And then all of a sudden they win. Oh yeah, I knew it all along, and we knew it that they were going to pull it out. And that's what makes me sick about Eagles fans because
I'm sorry. Do your Chiefs fans not do the same exact thing? They sure as hell do the same exact thing. Just like any team, not this one. Anywhere.
Not this one. When the Super Bowl, when it was the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl last year, did you hear a peep out of me leading up to the Super Bowl? No. I had to hear all the Eagles fans talk smack for the 2 weeks. That's all I did was talk smack. And I just sat back and I'm like, I'm just going to let this play out. And when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, you know where they all were? Nowhere. They didn't respond to anything I said. They took like 4 days for it to sink in that they had lost the Super Bowl in that fashion. You bitched about the field. You bitched about other stuff. You bitched about the reffing. You know what I mean? It's okay when Eagles fans bitch about it, but when other teams bitch about it, oh my God, they're bitching too much and this, that, and the other thing. That's what makes me sick about Philadelphia sports fans.
You just hate Philly in general. That's the problem. That's where I've come down to. And I'm not a psychologist by any means, but that's what it is. You just hate Philly in general.
I'm not saying all Philadelphia fans are like that. But when you have like people say, well, you can't let a couple of apples ruin the bunch. No, it's not just a couple of apples. It's like 80% of the bunch of apples that ruin it for the other 20%. If you know what I'm saying. Like Eagles fans like Angel. Angel doesn't say squat. He says nothing. He doesn't talk smack. He doesn't do anything. He just lets the game play out. Correct. And then he offers his opinion. But he's in the minority. He is in the minority. And Eagles fans, Philadelphia fans, and sports in general, if you're listening, call in. I'd love to hear from you. Angel would love to hear from you.
Well, you can get it from the Facebook side of the house. Ryan is the one guy who just loves to take almost like the old Purple and Herbals. He just goes out there on Facebook and everywhere else, and he just twists just enough to be like, oh, stop it, knock it off. That's what Ryan loves to do. And then he gets a rise out of it because he'll send me a text. Guess what I'm doing? I already know. I already freaking know it. So listen, nonetheless, I'm going to bring up some highlights later on since everybody kind of missed the very beginning. But, I tell you, that's
all good fun.
Yeah, it sure is. AJ says, true, Dallas hasn't been a winning team, and Philly is great. But to our co-host point, as of Thursday, only 14 of 32 NFL teams had a winning record. Miami is 0-3 against winning teams, too. The NFL is mediocre as a product at best. Now, AJ, so does Ryan. He says the same thing. So yes, on that behalf, I will agree because Ryan says the same thing as well, week in and week out. And believe me, I know because Miami hasn't won, hasn't been a winning team either that they should have. And listen, I'm not by any means defending anybody. And Dallas fans, they know it. I mean, listen, we got to go to Dallas. And I even said this to you, Ryan. We got to go to Dallas. Am I secure of us winning in Dallas? Absolutely not. I'll say right here on air, absolutely not. Because we don't know who's going to show up. Do we get the slow starting Eagles? Do we get the okay, we're here Eagles? Or do we get, all right, we're here, we're putting the gas down, and we're freaking full throttle all the way to the end of the game? Hey, I don't know. All I know is we've been able to come back. I say it as if, okay, the Eagles. I keep saying we as if I get, payroll from Howie or anybody else. But the Eagles have been able to pull it off. That's my thing. They've been able to pull it off. They've done it successfully, and they continue to do so. And I will give kudos to Jalen Hurts because that guy probably has the best poker face of anyone that I know. Anybody. Because that face remains the same. Unlike Belichick up there in the Patriots where you might go ahead and change your face. You might go ahead and change your outfit. You might just change everything. Because it's just, again, anybody who's a Patriots fan, if you want to change the channel for the moment because you know what's coming. But again, after all that cheating that you guys love to do, and you got away from Tom Brady, right? You let him run off to the sunset. They win in Tampa Bay, goes his first year, wins the Super Bowl there, and decides to say, you know what, I'm done. Now I'm with Raider Nation, and I don't know, Manchester U and God knows whoever else he's in a buying up. I think he's going to buy up the soccer team in Florida too. And Lord knows he's got more money than anybody else. But, well, he may have to give some to Giselle. Maybe just a little bit. Just a taste. He might have to give her some, but whatever's. Better than, no, I won't even bring up his name because I can't stand him. Just think Major League Baseball. I can't stand him, and I'm glad she cleaned him out. Oh, that made me happy when she cleaned his freaking pockets out. That's what you get, stupid. But anyways, because he's such an ego ass. I'm going to bring that up one day. I don't even want to get fired up more than what I am right now because it's going to happen. But anyways, coming up in the show here, as we got off to a fabulous start, a little glitch, and thankfully that went away. Just, again, things happen, folks. There's nothing that, unfortunately, that we could do, and it does what it does, and it is what it is. Anyways, as the Chiefs finally scored in the second half, obviously Eagles are a comeback win. Panthers, which is not surprising with Frank Reich, and then you wonder where, and I'll get Ryan's answer from this. Matter of fact, no, you know what? I'll wait till after break to get Ryan's answer, where Frank ends up again. Texas A&M hire a former staffer who's coming back as their head coach. Ohio loses a close one to Michigan, which I thought that was a really good game. And listen, say whatever you want to about Michigan. Ryan and I think we agree upon this one here, is that the better team won. Michigan just looked good. Not saying Ohio State by any means didn't, but man, oh man, Michigan brought it. So whether they were doing it for Jim, to where they're doing it for themselves, obviously that was a big implication game. Ohio State just came up a little bit short. So we'll talk about that after the break. Also, Kansas State quarterback Will Howard, who's been on Broad Tree South, which is on the other side, he enters the transfer portal, which should make it interesting to see where he ends up. Derek Carr, Mac Jones, again, are they done? More NFL updates. And again, our guest, Edgar Thompson, coming up, who writes for the Orlando Sentinel, but resides in Gainesville. He will be on with us at the 7 o'clock hour. So lots to get into as we're coming up here on our first break already, as I'm fired up because this one on the other side of my screen every freaking time. He does it every single time. Just gets me fired up, and then he laughs or does something silly when we're on commercial break, or he comes out and he does one of his dances. He drives me nuts. I got to find you. If anyone wants to try out for Martinez Company, please send your resume and or fax it over or email it to 844-644-8669. Because one of these days, dear God, one of these days, I swear it. Whatever's. Anyways.
It's always AI. Can place me with AI.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that thing would have something interesting to say.
Get Dolly Parton to come on here, be a co-host.
She probably would, but she would have to lip sync the rest of the show, though. So it'll be her with AI talking in the background. Oh, for the love of God! That's the way we start Monday after the break. I hope everyone enjoyed their break. I did, away from my co-host here, but it doesn't matter because we talk all weekend long. If not, send messages, God knows whatever else. Western Unions, that's back before you guys were even around. So anyways, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out the live test feed over on X tonight, also formerly known as Twitter. And after the break, we'll get into some college coaches as well as Ryan. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll save that for a 7 o'clock hour when Edgar comes on. But some college coaches that were let go. The Gators, they got to figure out what to do with their system. And I'm pretty sure Ryan's dying to know and has his input to say what he has to say. All right. He's giving the number one sign for those who don't know.
Get him out of there. Get him out of there.
It's probably going to happen. It probably is going to happen.
Get him out of there.
It probably will. Who knows? Something may break. Just saying. It could happen. So after the break, we'll get into it. Don't forget, you guys, listen to starting at 7 a.m. because after me, it is the best of until 7 a.m. At 7 a.m., it is Pete Shepard with the Pete Shepard Show from 7 to 10 a.m., followed by Defo and Luby from 10 to 12. Then the best of from 12 to 3 p.m. Then the man, the legend himself, Tony Bruno and Miss Robin, which they always have a great. I swear, with their show, it's like they have drinks without having drinks. That's how fantastic that show is every night. From 3 to 6 p.m. And then myself and Ryan, Martinez Company here from 6 to 8 p.m. So after the break, we'll get into some NFL updates and whatever else is going on here in America. We hope you guys all enjoyed it. And hopefully you all arrived home. Obviously didn't drink and drive. And we will talk to you just on the other side.
With skilled professionals to get all your home projects.
In Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
What you wanna do, baby? Where you wanna go? I'll take you to the moon, baby. I'll take you to the floor. I treat you like a real lady, no matter where you go. Just give me some time, baby. Cause you know, even when we're apart, I know my heart is still there with you. 5 more hours till the night is all is my type of party. 5 more hours, we're just getting started. This right here is my type of party. 5 more hours, we're just getting started.
5 more hours, we're just getting started.
And we are back, as we like to say here, the second quarter of Martinez and Company. Hopefully everybody can hear me, because the one thing I noticed, unfortunately, was I could not hear the commercials, so I played Guess What Time We Come Back on Air. So thankfully I came back at the right time, because I couldn't hear a thing as far as the commercial-wise. And obviously I can't play the app on my phone, because by the time they play out, it's a minute difference. So therefore, I guess I played it out pretty well. I know what it was. I talked about the Cowboys, and now they came and they glitched the system. That's what it was. But anyways, we are back here live. Martinez and Company, Ryan F., Angel Martinez here on a Monday evening, November 27th. And it is about 65 degrees outside, and it's about to get cold here in Florida, which is rare when it happens, but it's going to get chilly, because obviously there's a big blue wave across the U.S. You guys know all about it, right? I heard, and I did see, so the Florida weather down here. The Florida weather down here said that there was what was the thing in Michigan? Darn it, what do they call it? Lake effect snow. There was nothing there. There was like a dusting, if that, on the ground. So I think it's funny when they say, oh my God, look, it's a lake. No, it's not. You guys have no idea what actual lake effect snows are coming off of those 10,000 lakes up there in Michigan. But so the Panthers, who continue to have problems, obviously Matt Rule was fired last year. This year, Frank Reich is let go. The ownership there in the Carolinas, I mean, you got the fans. I know the fans said they didn't want to protest because they didn't like what was going on. So they decided to let go of Frank Reich. So I mean, I don't know who's going to take that job there. I mean, I guess you can bring Belichick from there, or maybe bring Ron Rivera back from from the Commanders. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do at this point. It's weird with me, but I don't know when the world's going to happen. But I mean, now he's let go, and another team that what's he do from here, Ryan?
Well, first of all, David Tepper is an idiot. He's a moron owner. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. You know, the business world doesn't always equate into the NFL world. This is going to be what, his 7th or 8th coach that he's fired? You know what I mean? So he's a moron. He's an idiot. And he fired Matt Rule. Look, management wanted Bryce Young. Frank Reich wanted C.J. Stroud. So that's on Tepper. That's not on the coaching staff. What do they have around Bryce Young in the way of talent? Miles Sanders was a bust. Chuba Hubbard shows flashes. Mm-hmm. And their receiving core doesn't scare anybody. Yes, Thielen has had a bounce back year, but he sucked yesterday. The whole team sucked. They've sucked out loud all year long. I mean, but go ahead, fire the head coach because you won one game all year, but it's all the coach's fault. It has nothing to do with management. So when a guy wants a talent like C.J. Stroud, Frank Reich is a former quarterback. Listen to the former quarterback. He saw something in C.J. Stroud that Bryce Young didn't have. So there was your first mistake. Should have listened to the head coach. Let the football people do football things. Let the football people that know football, let them do their jobs and just sit back and shut up and be the owner. But you know what? There's a lot of owners in the NFL today that don't do that. Jerry Jones is the mold. You know what I mean? He is the mold. So, you know, if I were a Carolina Panthers fan too, I'd be pissed because you get sick and tired of the losing, and then Tepper, you know, pulls off this stunt by firing Reich. It had nothing to do with you. It had nothing to do with your boneheaded stuff. You know, you want to sit up there and again, I'll fall back on it. Frank Reich was a quarterback that wanted C.J. Stroud, but instead, David Tepper and management said, no, we want Bryce Young. But go ahead and fire the coach. It doesn't make any sense to me. Who are they going to bring in? They still don't have it. It doesn't matter who they bring in. They don't have the talent there yet. But go ahead. Fire the coach after 1 year. Don't give him 2 or 3 years. But it's the NFL is what have you done for me lately? And to be honest with you, sometimes, Angel, it gets sickening. It makes you want to throw up sometimes. But hey, that's just the state of the NFL that we live in.
It is. And I agree with you. I mean, there's no reason to let him go for the first year just because you only won one game. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's gone wrong in Carolina. A lot since Rivera's been gone. I mean, that's just a carousel. It used to be the longest tenure joke, first of all, were the Browns. Then the Browns finally started getting their act together and they started winning. Same way with the Bengals. Bengals, it took a while. They started coming around. Then the longest joke became the Jaguars. Well, now you can't make fun of the Jaguars either. So now the retirement village has gone from the South, going north, still saying South, but in North Carolina. So, I mean, I don't know what these owners expect when you know what you hired. You get frustrated, I guess, with what you hired, and that's on you. You know, whatever you choose to do, that's on you. But now you're absolutely upset because things didn't go the way you wanted to. So to me is then who does he have in mind that he figures is going to right this ship? And no offense, again, Belichick has seen his days. If I'm him, I would just say, you know what? I'm going to take a year off, maybe really rethink if I want to come back into the NFL. But there's nothing else for him to prove. The only reason why he wants to hang around is to break Don Shula's record. That's the only reason why. Because the minute he wins, he'll be like, you know what? That's it. I'm running off to the sunset. Goodbye. See you later, folks. I'm out of here. So for me, stop. Just if you don't want to be there anymore, just don't be there. New England has got to, I mean, I don't know I think if they hire anybody, I would think they would try and give Bill O'Brien another chance. Obviously, he did so well with the Texans. I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't be surprised. It's going to be something from in-house. I already know it. It's not going to be anybody from the outside. It's either going to be Bill O'Brien or who's the other, Matt Patricia. Every time somebody gets fired, they go right back to the Patriots and then just collect them right back again. Bill Belichick's tree, by the way, not great. Nothing like Andy Reid. Andy Reid has had more successful coaches coming out from his branch than what Belichick's ever had. And, well, it's karma, folks. I'll just say it that way. I know New England fans don't like to hear it, but it is karma. So you guys got what, 6, 5 rings, whatever hell it is. Celebrate, enjoy it, because you're not going to see it for a while. Same way with the Red Sox. You're not going to see that for a while either, New Englanders. Boston, you will. Celtics. Listen, Celtics, I got nothing against the Celtics. Big rivals of us, obviously, for many years. Same way with the Knicks. I mean, it's a lot of history there. So I have zero hatred when it comes, and not that I'm saying that I hate the Patriots or hate the Red Sox by no means whatsoever, because I got family who lives up in New England. It's just that it's due time. Things are going to change at the helm, and we'll see what ends up happening out there in New England. But speaking of, obviously the Monday Night Gamer, Minnesota and Chicago. Minnesota 6-5, Chicago 3-8, and Chicago almost pulling off the upset last week. So normally you can kind of say this will be, I guess, somewhat of a dullard game, but this one I don't think it's going to be. I think this should be a pretty good matchup tonight. Minnesota versus Chicago in Minnesota. Thankfully, I mean, it's not in Chicago where it's pretty brutal as far as the winds, the air temperature, and the same way with the Eagles 2 weeks in a row, they had to play, in just miserable conditions. But Minnesota, Chicago, who do you got, Ryan?
I'm going Minnesota. It's sort of, you know what? Detroit lost. They're 8-3. If Minnesota wins this game, they're 7-5.
Yeah.
They're literally like a half game out of first place. So, Chicago season's all but over. It's just basically auditions for Chicago. This is going to be a close game. Don't get me wrong, but Minnesota, if they can win this game and put pressure on Detroit, because Detroit really hasn't had all that much pressure up until the last couple weeks, pressure's starting to show a little bit. So, but yeah, I think Minnesota finds a way, but Chicago's not going to make it easy.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think I think Chicago, this might be the one game, maybe that one little miracle game where they might be able to pull off the upset. Maybe. I'm not saying that they are, but they've come close almost 2 weeks in a row. So it could happen against Minnesota. Minnesota, I mean, they're playing good football, not great football. They're playing good football. So, I mean, it's solid defense, but they have some hiccups. and it's been noted by Dobbs, as he's mentioned it. So I think it could be, I mean, it should be, in all reality, a really good game, but I think it'll be even a better one here a little bit later on tonight. So over the weekend, obviously, we had a bunch of matchups there. Green Bay, who took care of business against Detroit, which is surprising, but that was the Thursday night game. And I did mention, or I did text one of my great friends out there in Green Bay who does a fantastic job with the Packers fan podcast. But as I let him know, where was this Green Bay team all season long? Because Green Bay, I mean, damn near they all but play it lights out on Thursday night. To me, obviously the best game they've had all season long. And for Detroit, as you're chasing obviously the Eagles to stay atop to try and at least get the ability or the chance to win at home throughout the playoffs. I mean, that was one that you probably didn't want to blow.
Yeah, and I mean, for the Packers, key stat: Jordan Love did not turn the ball over. Green Bay did not turn the ball over. Detroit turned it over, what? I'm just looking at the stats here. Turned it over 3 times. Jared Goff, what the hell are you doing? You've got to feel the pressure. He sort of regressed the last couple of weeks back to doing Jared Goff things like when he was with the Rams. Mm-hmm. Up until a couple of weeks ago, he wasn't turning the ball over. Detroit was playing fantastically. But now, you almost lose to Chicago. And then 4 days later, you lose to a Green Bay team that they were hungry. You could see it. They wanted to prove a point. But if Goff continues to play like this, then Detroit's going to be a little bit of trouble. And I know Dan Campbell will twist it every which way he can. But look, Goff's turned it over 5 or 6 times in the last couple of weeks. It's not going to float. You're not going to win football games like that. So Jared Goff just sort of needs to get back to mistake-free football. If it's not there, get rid of it. Don't try to do something too much. Either run with it or get outside the pocket and get rid of it. Fight for another day for another down. But, yeah, I mean, it's everybody. And I kept saying, the last 2-3 weeks, Angel, I want to trust Detroit so bad. I want to believe. But then they pull off crap like that, and it's just, I can't.
Well, there's still, obviously, I don't want to say plenty of football left, but it's quickly coming to a close. As we know, there's about 5 or 6 weeks left to the end of the regular season. But Detroit, I think, I'm hoping that this isn't some sort of sign for Detroit to lose. At least I don't believe. Because if Pittsburgh's finding ways with Matt Canada being let go, again, another OC that was let go. But if Pittsburgh can find ways to win, I mean, obviously Green Bay did. They found a winning formula. But Pittsburgh keep going the rate they're going. They could find themselves back into the playoffs here with Mike Tomlinson. And you would think, I mean, last year, I said it a bunch of times last year that Mike Tomlinson should have been let go. But he's finding ways to win. Now, maybe the OC change, maybe a long stretch of a maybe was one issue that they were having. I'm not saying that, it was the entire issue that they have, but Pittsburgh continues find a way to win. Now, granted, of course, it'd be the Bengals, Joe Burrow less. If I say too quick, I know it'll come out just sounding ridiculous. But without Joey Burrow, and we saw them start, 0-3 for the season. Then they start coming back. And just and you had mentioned it, that when they went, 2-3, they had their 2-game winning streak. Then, here come the Bengals all over again. But then we don't see it again. And now with him being injured, that's it pretty much, I think, for a Cincinnati season. But the Steelers, once again, magically find a way to win.
Yeah, and a friend of mine, I was texting back and forth with him yesterday about the Pittsburgh game. I'm like, it's still a pedestrian offense. So he's like, 400 yards of offense is pedestrian? I'm like, dude, 16 points. And he's like, well, they called that one touchdown back that whoever it was, I think it was Deontay Jones, caught it in the end zone. He went to the ground. He didn't have control. That was called back. Then they fumbled on the next play. They kicked the field goal at the end because they had to. It was a 2-score game. I'm like, dude, 16 points. I get it. 400 yards of offense. You won 16-10. all those yards, if you don't turn them into points, Now, they're winning every type of way you can think imaginable. I had them pegged wrong this year. They're 7-4. Firing Matt Canada, we'll see where it takes them. But, 16 points? 16 points isn't going to win you a lot of games. But look who they were playing yesterday. Joe Burrow as quarterback. So, as it looks now, it's probably going to be Baltimore, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh right now will probably be on the playoffs right now. Cleveland, if you watched Cleveland yesterday, their quarterback carousel is abysmal right now. They got a fantastic defense, but Myles Garrett got hurt. Hopefully not too seriously.
Speaking of, because then you had Denver, who's finding a way to turn things around, 5-6. And according to Russell Wilson, he said he knew this team could get things turned around. And again, this is now to the beginning part of the show when you had mentioned about, what we say as fans and this, that, and the other. But again, Russell Wilson, listen, not for nothing, I said Russell Wilson was done. I'm not going to hold that back. I thought he was done, in all honesty. And Denver looked like a train wreck. But now the train is back on the tracks and finding ways to get back to the carousel, to start picking up everybody else who's going to be on pretty much the Denver bandwagon. Because, I did not see this turnaround coming around from Sean Payton. It just seems like things were just going south and south and south. And Denver has found a way to bring things back around. I don't know how in the world they're doing it, but somehow or another they are. So I just don't get it. You look at Denver and you wonder, no one asked you. So, and my watch, it likes to talk to me. And I don't say the name, and all of a sudden it starts talking to me. Freaking son of a gun. Anyways, but Denver's found a way to be able to do so. It was a beautiful blue sky day in Denver, and they find ways to win. That defense continues to get better, along with the offense. Again, they're starting to fire at the right time. Odd to say, Ryan, really odd to say. Denver looked like they were washed up less than 2 weeks ago. Now could be, and they are like in the hunt. So they're only a win or two away from a wild card. So could Denver somehow or another pull off this miraculous miracle and be able to be one of the wild card teams?
So they're 6-5 right now with the win yesterday. Here's the remaining schedule: at Houston, at the Chargers, at Detroit, then home against New England, home against the Chargers, at Las Vegas. So I can potentially see, other than the Detroit game, they could go 5-1 the rest of the way. That would put them at 11-6. They do that, they're in the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen. Still a lot of football to be played, injuries, whatnot. Maybe an upset here or there. But they have to go to Houston, which won't be easy. Chargers are a mess. Detroit, with the way they're playing right now, that's no gimme for Detroit.
Right.
Then New England stinks. Then they're home against the Chargers, again, a mess. And then you're at Las Vegas, which Vegas is kind of a mess in itself. So, yeah, do I think that they're a wild card team at this point? Absolutely.
Okay. I think so as well. Again, we talked about this 2 months ago. Never. A month ago. Never. At the rate that they were going, no freaking way. Seeing what happened to them last year in that fallout, didn't seem like it, but now somehow or another, they got things turned around. So good for them. Seattle met San Fran, which usually it's always been a back and forth with Seattle in San Francisco. Not so much this time around. Brock Purdy doing Brock Purdy things, taking that offense, that high-powered offense, it seems at this point, to try, again, stay pace with the Eagles, stay pace with the Lions. If anybody, I think, that I would say as an Eagles fan could have me shaking my boots a little bit would be Brock Purdy and crew with San Francisco. They're due to get back there again, and they're due to win another one. I'm trying to think. San Fran has 4, if I remember correctly.
What do you mean, the seed?
No, championships.
They have 5.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, San Fran. I apologize. You guys have 5.
Yeah. 5-2 in Super Bowls. Yeah, with the 49ers, they're now getting healthy. They had people hurt, especially during that 3-game losing streak. Now they're starting to turn it around. They're getting healthy. They're starting to gel.
Right.
I mean, Purdy wasn't spectacular against Seattle. I mean, he did turn it over once, but they relied on the run game. They're playing fantastic defense again. They're starting to get healthy at the right time. But again, this week will be the true test. They're coming back to Philly. We all know what happened in Philly last year. They knocked their 3 quarterbacks out, and they were down to like their 4th stringer. So we'll see where this San Francisco team is heading into Sunday. If they beat the Eagles, or let's say they play them tough, they don't get blown out like they did last time, they're going to be a tough out if they continue to get healthy.
Think so. It's a lot of, again, seems like a lot, but not a whole lot of football. And speaking of, you guys don't forget you can call in and/or text into the show at 844-644-8669. Once again, 844-644-8669. Ryan F. Angel Martinez here. Martinez Company from 6 to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. After us, it's just the best of until Pete comes on in the morning from 7 to 10 a.m. It is Pete Shepard Show. This morning, I apologize to one of the shows that I absolutely love to hear in the morning, as this morning I could not, for some reason, get Alexa to work in the factory to be able to hear it. So I missed out on the Pete Shepard Show this morning, and I'm pretty sure it was fantastic. And again, his comedy segment that he has is 7:45 in the morning. If you guys missed the one that he had on Wednesday, that was perfect timing for the one he had on Wednesday, because that was absolutely hilarious. I played it back for Debbie after the show was over. I was going to play, but Mom might have been listening in. She probably would have called me up and said, we need to talk. And those are words you never want to hear from a woman. We need to talk. So I didn't want to bring that one up. But then after that, it's Default and Luby from 10 to 12, the mid-mornings. 12 to 3, we run the best of. And then Tony Bruno, Miss Robin, from the Tony Bruno Show from 3 to 6 p.m., always with some fantastic loaded guests. They're on from 3 to 6 p.m. And then, of course, Ryan and myself here from 6 to 8 p.m. Before we come up here on our next break, I guess one of the other games, and I know you guys missed, sorry that, there was a small glitch because you guys missed a great rant between myself and Ryan at the beginning part of the show. But I guess, and I can't go back and say obviously what I said, because it's one of those things you get caught up in the moment. But Dallas obviously beating Washington 45-10. Why are they still hanging on to Ron Rivera is my question to you, Ryan.
I mean, yeah, he's a lame duck coach at this point. I mean, why would you want to stay? I mean, Ron Rivera doesn't quit, though. A good guy, never say quit attitude. So, yeah, I mean, all the rumors are coming out now that he will be let go at the end of the year. So, at least they sort of have respect for him to at least finish this out. I guess he's deserved that respect. So, again, but you're a lame duck coach. You probably know you're going to get canned at the end of the year. But, now he'll probably be auditioning for other head coaching positions after he gets let go. Let's see how he handles all the scrutiny these last 6 games. Maybe they put together a run. Maybe they finish the season 4-2, and maybe somebody like Carolina. Would he go back to Carolina? Probably not.
No.
But some of these other teams that might be looking for a coach at the end of the year, they might say, you know what, he commands a lot of respect. He deserves it. He's a hell of a guy. He's a cancer survivor. So he will, at some point after this year, be coaching in the NFL somewhere.
He will. And it makes you wonder where, because, again, could he, matter of fact, and you can't put the 100% blame on Ron Rivera either for what, he came into a very, I don't even put turbulence, tornado, hurricane-like. That was horrific what he had to go in and take over. So kudos to Ron Rivera, because he was not handed the keys to the kingdom. He got handed the keys to the asylum, and unfortunately, and it wasn't the players. So for Commanders fans out there, that had nothing to do with the players. It was your former owner and Dan Snyder that caused all that chaos. So I felt bad when he had taken over the job, and I know he's trying to right that ship as best he possibly can, and things just didn't kind of fall the way they should have for Ron Rivera. But I'm wondering, and I know we're coming up on a break here, could San Diego be a good fit, Ryan, if they let go, obviously, of their head coach?
You mean Los Angeles? I know you call it San Diego. That's all right. Yeah, I was just looking it up because I had to refresh my memory. guess where he grew up? He grew up in California. He went to Cal. So the Chargers or Rams came a calling after this year. If I were the Chargers, Staley's not going to be there much longer. I don't even know why he's still there. Yeah, I would dial up Ron Rivera because he would be able to put the ship back together. And, with Herbert there, because again, the Chargers are wasting Herbert's career. It's a shame. He's a hell of a quarterback. But yeah, if all else fails in Washington, I'm going to say he's probably big time candidate for the Chargers job. I'll put it that way.
Well, we'll see. I think so. I mean, they have to get better. They can get worse. Things can always get worse if you allow it to get worse. But it can get worse. But we'll see. Anyways, after the break, we'll come back. We will try and get our guest back on the line here, Edgar Thompson, who reports for the Orlando Sentinel. He is a writer for him, but resides in Gainesville, Florida. So he talks about the Florida Gators and reports on the Florida Gators. So we will try to get him on the line here. He'll come up at the 7 o'clock hour, along with some college talk, which we know Ryan is the big college nut here at Martinez and Company. Me, not so much. Maybe next year I'll get into a little bit more. But with 1,000 things that going on, it's kind of hard. But so Ryan and Edgar, I'm pretty sure we'll get into it as far as the coaching let go issues, I guess, if it's saying it correctly. And obviously the hire by the Aggies. So a lot more coming up here. Don't forget, you guys can call into the show at 844-644-8669. Once again, 844-644-8669. Now, usually when I come back from the break, I always have some Spanish music. I forgot to do it on the last break, so I guess I will exit out to some Dansakuro. Just mix it all up. We'll see you and talk to you after the break.
Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800.
Creating a better future for us all. Visit internationalanimalrescue.org.
Starts at 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Sports Network. Download the app. And
Forgive me for staring, forgive me for breathing. We might not know why, we might not know how, but baby tonight, we're beautiful now, we're beautiful now, we're beautiful now. We might not know why, we might not know how, but baby tonight, we're beautiful now. We'll light up the sky, we'll open the clouds, 'cause baby tonight, we're beautiful now, we're beautiful. We're beautiful. Wherever it's going, I'm gonna chase it. What's left of
Welcome
this
back to hour number 2 here at the top of the hour. 7:02 on, I guess, your phone, if you're listening to the app, on your computer, if you're looking at it, up on the wall clock. Whatever the case may be, it is hour number 2, quarter number 3 here on Martinez and Company. Ryan F., Angel Martinez. We are Martinez Company, coming to you Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. And don't forget, starting next week, December 4th, it will be A.J. Johnson from the Bleacher Brothers. He is starting next week from 8 to 10 p.m., Monday through Thursday. So he will be available Monday through Thursday, and then Fridays we close out the show as we normally do. Coming in, it's the Penguin AZ. What up, Martinez and Company? Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. Breaking news, Shedeur Sanders broken back. Is he done as a quarterback? Mind you, he is the most sacked quarterback this year. Man, oh man. I did see earlier, and I was going to bring it up. And by the way, our guest has to reschedule for tomorrow. He is working on something that has to take priority. So Edgar Thompson will be with us tomorrow. And we'll get to talk to him about some stuff that could be or could be not going on all over college football. But Penguin, to get to your question here, yeah, Shedeur Sanders. I mean, that's tough, man. I don't care who says what. Young kid. I mean, he was not spoken of well, Ryan, when obviously when they were at practice. He had a chip on his shoulder, which obviously took that Colorado to that first blowout win the way he did. But now he's back, and that's tough. I don't care who you are. I don't care how young you are. Back is a big thing. I mean, you look at Andrew Vasilevsky there, Big Cat, for Tampa Bay. He came back earlier. He was supposed to come back in January and came back 2 days ago to play for the Lightning. Again, listen, you can say whatever you want to. I understand you're professional athletes and everything else like that. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, too, when it comes to your back, that is tough. So I haven't gotten to the full story. I'll try to look it up here as we're here live on the air. But that's a tough one. That is a tough pill to swallow. So, I mean, what now at this point, Ryan?
Do you believe now? Do you believe now? That's all I'll say to Deion Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, take your time, my friend. It's your back. It's your back. Depending on how serious it is, depending on the recovery time, the recuperation time, it's nothing to mess with when it comes to your back. So do I think he's done? Probably not. It'll be a long road back, though, depending how serious the injury is. And with that offensive line, the way they played this year, why in the hell would you want to come back to that? Unless they were really sure up that offensive line. Because he ran around like Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all year long. Anybody who watched their games, it was pathetic. So if I'm Shedeur, I have to be completely 100% ready, mind, body, and soul, to come back. Because I wouldn't want to go back to that right away.
I wouldn't either. But the only thing I saw from the latest was here from Yahoo Sports from Sam Cooper, and this was about 3:50 Eastern time. So less than about, or at least about 3 hours or so in the past here. And Penguin AZ says, how long has he been hurt, though? The source is the source is his brother's YouTube. So it's crazy.
He got hurt against Washington State, is what they're saying.
Okay. All right. Well, according to what was written here by Sam Cooper, again, giving credit to Yahoo Sports here, where it says Colorado State quarterback Shedeur Sanders missed CU's season finale versus Utah on Saturday because he had a fracture in his back. Sanders exited Colorado's previous game at Washington State in the first half after taking a hard hit, but no specifics about the. Wait a minute, I think I did see. I think I did see that play. I can't remember if I happened to flip through and caught it live or not. But okay, now it makes a little bit of sense. See, listen, folks, you get a little bit older sometimes. The wheels are there and they're turning. It's just the wagon needs to catch up sometimes. It's just the way it is. Don't mind me. I'm about 2 weeks behind. In the first half, they're taking a hard hit, but no specifics about the extent of his injury were he provided at the time. However, the nature of Sanders' injury was revealed in a video posted Sunday by his brother, Deion Sanders Jr., who documents the Colorado football program on his Well-Off Media YouTube channel. And that's what Penguin AZ was talking about. So thanks, Penguin, for that one. And by the way, Deion Sanders Jr., you talk about someone finding what his worth is, what his value was. He knew football wasn't for him, so he found, photography and media to be his thing. So the video posted shows behind-the-scenes footage leading up to the Utah game. Sanders traveled to Salt Lake City with the team and joined his teammates on the field before the game, but did not participate in warm-ups. As he and Deion Jr. walked onto the field at Rice Eccles Stadium, Shedeur tells his brother he feels good, but he knows he can't run at full speed or comfortably throwing the ball. Quote, "It's crazy because I feel good, bro, but when I start running for real, it's like, I feel good, but realistically, you can't, and I can't even throw right now," end quote, Sanders said. So apparently it's unclear, obviously to his dad or anybody else, what's going to happen here. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of evaluations, a lot of testing to see exactly what's going to happen here. It stinks because I know that Colorado, again, started out so well, not where they actually wanted to be. And I think I may have even raised a question on Wednesday, is Deion Sanders still going to be there? But I would believe he will still be there. It's just, do they make any kind of coaching changes for next season there at Colorado?
No, because everybody remembers when Deion came to Colorado, the mass exodus of players into the transfer portal, because they just weren't Deion's guys. He brought the bulk of what he had at Jackson State. So they'll give him another year, possibly two. I mean, what are you going to bolt after 1 year at Colorado? It doesn't make any sense. So you still need to get his types of players in there. You're going to have to give him at least, I don't know, with where Colorado was, you're going to have to at least give him next year. See how it goes. See if you see any progress in the program and the way that the players respond. They'll have to improve on the 4-8. If they can go 7-5 next year, make a bowl game, step in the right direction. But don't think it's going to be a complete 360-degree turn. Because let's face it, that Colorado program was really bad before he got there. So for him to just go 4-8 was, I would consider, a win-win for Colorado.
Yeah. No. Again, a lot. Next year is going to be a tale of a lot of teams. Obviously, this year is a plethora of quarterbacks coming into the NFL. A lot. That's for sure. For those, listen, every once in a while I have to take some words from Ryan, only because he likes to use it every once in a while. So I'll have to, right. I got to steal it from him every once in a while. But Texas A&M hires Duke's Mike Elko as next head coach. So that came through earlier on today. He's returning back to Texas A&M as they announced Monday morning that has hired Elko as his new head coach. Elko was the defensive coordinator at A&M from 2018 to 2021 and then spent the last 2 seasons as head coach at Duke. So he's 46 years old. They combined 5-18 overall, 1-17 ACC play in 2020 and 2021, and quickly transformed the Blue Devils into a winner, which is true. The Blue Devils would look pretty good. I will say that much. They've looked really good this past season. And everybody knows Duke normally is known for their basketball team, both men and women, and for lacrosse is the big get at Duke. Football has not been in their wheelhouse for many a seasons. So for him to go down there and do what he did, and obviously Texas believes in him, now they're going to bring him back home, I guess, if you want to say it that way. So he comes back next year. Does this, and I know it's probably the silliest thing to say, but does it make it instant winners for next year?
No. I don't agree with the hire. I know he's had success. Just because he has success at Duke, I thought they were going to go after a bigger name, but I'm sure he's obviously familiar with the program. They have the resources, but look, Texas is coming in next year.
Right.
Oklahoma's going to come in next year. You got to go up against the likes of them and Alabama and Mississippi and, Georgia and Tennessee. So, the last couple of years, the ACC's been down. Clemson's been down. Florida State's been coming up. So he's going to find a tough sledding in the SEC next year. So, Jimbo Fisher thought he was going to come into the SEC and set the world ablaze. And he's still getting paid for that buyout, which is a handsome sum, may I say. So I know Texas A&M fans are like, thank God. It's what we needed. We need a reinvigoration of the program. Just pump the brakes a little bit, my friends. Let's see how it goes next year. Let's see how it goes after year 2. And then we'll still see how you feel about the Texas A&M program. So, again, didn't agree with the hire, but I'm not Texas A&M. So,
yeah, no, I cannot not disagree with you there. But then, who do you feel, Ryan? Who, in your opinion, who do you feel would be the right fit for Texas?
Not sure. I know there was a bunch of names being, Dabo Swinney was a name. Chip Kelly. Lane Kiffin was a possibility. I mean, there were like 8 coaches above Mike Elko that they could have gone after and brought in. So, maybe he'll have a chip on his shoulder. Imagine being the 8th pick, your 8th consideration coming into the program as a head coach. So he'll have a chip on his shoulder. Again, to be determined. He has players there. But I've already seen, obviously, anytime you bring in a new regime, now with the transfer portal, and I was just taking a look online, there are players from program after program after program that are hitting the transfer portal. So won't be the same team, but we'll just have to see after year 1 how it goes.
All right. By the way, if you guys end up missing the beginning part of the show on the app, where it ended up glitching for some crazy reason, again, things do happen when you go live. I always say this every time we go live on Broad Street South. Same thing. It happens, folks. So if you missed it, I'm doing a test stream tonight there on X. So if you guys missed the very beginning portion of it, once the show ends, you guys can go back and listen to the beginning portion of it where Ryan drove me nuts with his Dallas Cowboy theory nonsense with Kansas City fans speaking up for Dallas, whatever. By the way, AJ, if you're still listening in, AJ from San Antonio, because I think I missed out. Now, I believe, I could be wrong, but I do believe usually fans from San Antonio root for the Texans because it's kind of like that fine-ish, line-ish type deal. You get half to like the Texans, the other half, obviously, you like the Cowboys. So I like to see AJ to figure out which team he actually likes. But, yeah, if you guys missed that beginning rant, go back on X, and you guys can hear it because sometimes my co-host drives me absolutely bananas. But anyways, came from the wire at 5:37 just before we went online. Brian obviously was breaking the news to me here, but College Football Transfer Portal Tracker shows that Kansas State quarterback Will Howard set to transfer. Will was on with us, trying to think, last year just before the bowl game, and it was thanks to Leslie Goodell, who wanted for Will to have some great exposure, and we had fun with him. He was at a family function, so I was able to literally catch him in between the Uber ride to his house, heading out to his family's event, which usually you guys, to put something together that quick and make sure you're right on time, It's never easy. But thankfully we did. Hopefully we'll have Will on here in the next coming weeks as he states here that one of the bigger names to hit it as Will Howard, a multi-year starting quarterback at Kansas State, put his name into the portal as a graduate transfer. Howard started 7 games in 2020, 3 games in 21, and 5 games in 22 before becoming the full-time starter this season. Howard played for the injured Edgar Thompson during his first 2 seasons in Manhattan, and then supplanted Adrian Martinez as the starter in 2022 and helped K-State win the Big 12 title. This year, Howard started off the season strong, but ended up splitting reps at times with prize freshman Avery Johnson. Later in the year, the snaps for Johnson started to decrease, but Johnson is viewed as a quarterback of the future in Manhattan. With 1 season of eligibility remaining, Howard should receive plenty of interest in the transfer market. Now, I'm wondering, obviously, there's a bunch here. Baylor, starting quarterback, also goes to their transfer, Blake Chapin, excuse me. So there's a bunch of names that are, again, as talked about, the transfer portal. Sometimes it turns out to be good, sometimes it turns out to be bad, and sometimes it's not too much. If I could take some lines from Tony there. But it's, I guess, not maybe surprising, somewhat surprising that he decides he wants to transfer. But who do you believe, Ryan, what possible university could possibly reach out to Will's camp and say that they would like for him to come on?
Summertime of good, summertime of shit. That's what it is.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, anybody that needs an upgraded quarterback, kid's a Downingtown. He's a Pennsylvania kid from Downingtown. So I don't know. Ohio State might want to reach out. I have no idea. With the transfer portal, you just never know. It's unpredictable. It's the free agency of college football. So I have no idea. You look at places like Oregon State, DJ Uyunglele, he went there thinking that the coach was going to be there. Now the coach is gone. What does he do? I know he still has a year left. Is he going to stay at Oregon State? They're probably going to bring in a whole new regime. So, again, to be determined, because as anybody knows with the transfer portal, anything can happen. Anybody can go anywhere. So it's just a mass exodus once the year is over. And, again, Angel, you look at things like, Ohio State probably not playing for the national title. Is Marvin Harrison Jr. going to just get ready for the NFL? These high-profile players for a lot of these teams that do not make the playoff this year, they're probably going to skip the bowl game. Now, it won't happen next year because we go to the 12-team playoff. So a little bit more substance there. But Will Howard, I wish him well, and he had a great career at Kansas State. We'll just have to see where he winds up.
So a great line is as I mentioned AJ from San Antonio. By the way, and this is a good one. Sean, what's up, man? We'll get into the Eagles. We got into the Eagles in the top of the hour there, last hour. But we'll bring them up again. I got a video to show, obviously, with Nick Sirianni being pumped up after it was over, along with Hassan Reddick with the fans out there. And even while I was listening to the post-game show last night on CSN, it's amazing to me, like, as they were talking to their players in the locker room, and you can hear the fans just cheering and cheering and cheering. So it was great win last night by the Eagles. But AJ from San Antonio says, San Antonio and the surrounding area has the highest per capita rate of Dallas Cowboy fans in Texas. Fact. Which I will say is true, because when Debbie and I went to San Antonio, we went on the Riverwalk, there was a store that was there loaded with Cowboys gear. And that day, basically what I have on right now, which is my Eagles hat, Eagles shirt for those who can't see us on radio. But yeah, that's what I had on when I walked in there. Said, excuse me, you have any Eagles gear? And the guy that looked at me like all sideways, he did nothing but laugh. I mean, guess you had to laugh. But he says they have the highest rate per capita of Dallas Cowboy fans, and which is why San Antonio will never get an NFL team. I'm a Cowboys fan, but if anyone up there thinks that quacks like Skip Bayless represent me as a Cowboy fan, please feel free to punch yourself in the face. So, listen, it is a shame. See, now I'm a bigger fan of AJ because we get to be rivals and we get to have fun at the same time. And again, listen, everybody knows this. For years, there's been a hatred between the Cowboys and the Eagles. That's nothing new. We all know this. Do the fans egg each other when we go? If you go to Dallas, are you going to hear from the Cowboys fans? Naturally, because when they come to Philly, when they go to the Link, you hear it there. So if you go to AT&T Stadium, that $1 billion stadium they have over there, you're going to hear it. But it's, that's neither here nor there because it's the rivalry. It is what it is. So, but it is a shame though because AJ has a great point. The problem is, since you do have a lot of Dallas fans in San Antonio, it would make it difficult for San Antonio to be able to get a team, an NFL team. And listen, we went the last time I was in San Antonio was, let me go back, 88, 89-ish, 88 when I was there. Big difference, big change from 88 to what are we now? So that would have been 2021 when we were there. I mean, it's stellar. The Riverwalk, to me, just grew bigger. San Antonio itself got bigger as a city. Beautiful city. If I would move somewhere, again, that would be a long if, because I absolutely love Florida here. But if I did, San Antonio would be a nice place to move to. Let's see. AJ follows up with, on the Colorado Buffalo subject, which has problems, over the last couple of days, multiple players have decommitted. 3 players, including quarterback Danny O'Neal and running back Jameer Wilder, have all decommitted from the Buffs. Wow, that's interesting. So 2025's third-ranked quarterback, Antoine Hill, also decommitted from CU on Sunday. Colorado has lost its 2024-2025 quarterback prospects in 24 hours. Early signing days is only a few weeks away. CU has fewer than 10 recruits for the class of 2024. The Buffaloes have a problem. CU is in trouble. That's interesting, Ryan. Why so?
Well, it tells me one thing. They don't think Deion's going to be there after next year. Or they see the way the team played down the stretch. You know what I mean? You're 3-0 after your first 3. He comes out and says, "Do you believe now? Do you believe now?" And then they go 1-8 after that. So as a player, just any program, just look at Florida or Mississippi State. It's how's the team playing? Do you really want to go there? Do you really want to be part of a rebuild? Now, a lot of these kids are going to hit the transfer portal because they're not getting playing time.
Okay.
And somebody will come a calling somewhere and they'll start right away at other programs. I get that part. Don't get me wrong. But, with Colorado, Deion has a great year next year. And you have other programs that come calling, or the NFL comes calling somewhere, Carolina Panthers. A little bit too much uneasiness for recruits to go there. They want to see stability. They want to know that
which I can't even believe how quick that half hour went is. I happen to look over at the clock, and it's already 7:24. So coming up on our final break here, on the other side, Sean, if you're still there, I'll get into a couple of clips when it comes to the Eagles. Obviously, what KC and Andy Reid had to say afterwards, and they found a way to win. Imagine that. Not only that, but they were able to find a way to score in the second half, which we thought, and this is where I will say that Ryan is not a homer either for his own team, because you said it in the first half, this team stinks. So this goes to show it, as much as Ryan likes to dish it out, he takes it as well. And he dishes it and takes it himself. I don't know how he does it. I think he just looks in the mirror and like, what are we doing today? I don't know. We're giving somebody a hard time. Let's do it. So nonetheless, but the Chiefs find a way to get things done. I mean, and good for them, because they did find a way to score in the second half. So, and now is minus a Swift E. I don't know, she's MIA somewhere. She's somewhere around touring, whatever she does.
It wasn't a home game.
It doesn't matter. So what? She couldn't go to? Come on. You mean to tell me that she wouldn't? If she was spotting Vegas, you mean to tell me that the Swifties wouldn't go nuts?
Maybe they broke up, and maybe she's writing new material on Travis for her next album. So, who knows?
Maybe she should get John Fetterman to be the narrator.
That's right.
The Eagles are better than the Eagles.
The 95.
Exactly.
Where's the link? Where's the link, Fetterman? It's right off 95.
The 95,
The 90
95, 95.
There you go. He knows exactly where that is. But anyways, coming back from the break here, we will get into some clips as we will wrap up the NFL. Derek Carr, Mac Jones, we'll get into that as well because those two might be looking for new homes. And that deal that Derek Carr got, maybe New Orleans is thinking otherwise because that might have been such a great deal whatsoever. So there's so much that you can take away from that or give or take it, whichever way you look at it. Nonetheless, we'll get into it after the break. Don't forget, after this show is over, it is the best of Tony Bruno on the Tony Bruno Sports Network all the way through till 7 a.m. And then the fabulous Pete Shepard with the Pete Shepard Show from 7 to 10 a.m., followed by Defo and Luby the mid-mornings from 10 to 12. 2 days in a row where they sounded absolutely marvelous. 10 to 12, Defo and Luby, then the best of once again from 12 to 3. And then the man, the legend himself, Tony Bruno from 3 to 6 with Miss Robin on his own network, the Tony Bruno Sports Network. And then myself and Ryan, Angel Martinez, Ryan Neff here on Martinez Company. So after the break, we'll get into some clips. We'll get into what the teams are thinking about with some of their players currently. And, man, I mean, there's just a lot to get into. So we'll get into after the break. Don't forget, you guys can call or text the show. Once again, 844-644-8669. 844-644-8669. We'll talk to you after the break.
Shake my ass, I'm stopping it. I look hot in it, hot in it. I look hot in it, rocking it, dropping it. Shake my ass, I'm stopping it. I look hot in it. You know I'm down for whatever tonight. I don't need to follow things alive. No matter where I go, it's a good time. Yeah.
As you are live with Martinez and Company, I had to wake up Brian there for a minute, and then we wake up myself as well because the audio was a little bit delayed as I came back from the break. But to get together with BB Rexa, David Guetta, here on Martinez and Company, myself, Angel Martinez, Brian Neff, live with you here from the Tampa studios in beautiful Tampa, Florida, just central part of Florida. Tony, Miss Robin, the rest of the gang are down there in South Florida, Southwest, and out in the Miami area. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. We do appreciate it. Once again, it is the fourth quarter as well. We see at the end of the year of the show. 15 minutes or so plus to go, 30 minutes for those who are counting, maybe a little bit less than that. But we thank you for tuning in and listening in. And by the way, if you'd like to text in or call the show, please do so at 844-644-8669, 844-644-8669. Thanks to AJ in San Antonio, Sean, and every one of you tuning in tonight. We do appreciate it. For us who are running the stream over there on X, formerly known as Twitter, hopefully you guys have been enjoying the show. And again, if you missed the rant in the very beginning, as my co-hosts like to get me fired up first thing in the afternoon as we come back. You know, I come back from a break nice and relaxed and just, you know, listening to the sparrows, Jack Sparrow maybe, on a ship somewhere. And then this guy has got to get me fired up, but that's okay, nonetheless. Anyways, Kansas City found a way to score, Ryan, in the second half. I would love to say there was something in the magic potion out there in Vegas. Maybe they all went to the casinos afterwards, or they tried to run with the rest of the track that was there as F1 had left behind. I know they're trying to get that straightened out because now the turnaround begins as we're at the end of the week. We're in December, 2 months away from Super Bowl party out there in Vegas. So what changed, at least from your perspective, with your Kansas City Chiefs?
I mean, something snapped. I mean, you go down 14-0, and then all of a sudden you want to play like gangbusters. That's the way they should come out from the start of the game to the finish. And it's almost like they lollygagged and like, hey, we're down 14-0. And then all of a sudden they just started to kick it into overdrive. And again, I'm glad they won the football game. They're 8-3, 2-game lead on the Broncos in the division, but they can't continue to do this. So Mahomes did his thing. You know, the defense was kind of in a funk after 14-0, and then they put the clamps down. But, you know, the Chiefs, 23 rushes for 69 yards. That has to change. They cannot rely on Mahomes and the passing game. They can't do it. So glad they got the win, but they cannot continue to play games like this or they are not going to go real far.
All right. Well, we got some audio here. Again, thanks to, in part, Sean says, again, what's up, guys? How about Derek Barnett claimed by the Texans? Yeah.
Good pickup.
Yeah. Quite interesting, but it's some people could be coming toward the end of the career. Good thing of me, at least he wasn't gone for long, but probably a good pickup for the Texans. I'm pretty sure once he gets acclimated, he won't have excuses like James Harden will. I wasn't here at the beginning of the season. I don't know what's going on around here, blah, 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 any of that horse crap. But anyways, we do have some post-game talk. Hopefully everyone will be able to hear it here on the radio. But here would be Andy Reid in the locker room after the game was over.
To get this thing right? This was so important, I can't tell you. And then we fix this and we go ahead and take care of business here, get a little rest, and then we're right back on it. All right, the next week. It's a normal week. Back to a normal week, and we roll. Congratulations, though, man. Congratulations. All right. Hey, how about those Chiefs?
Hang on a second. So first off, congratulations. Great performance today. Our special head coach here moved past Hank Stram for #1 in franchise history. And he is also the only NFL coach to be #1 for 2 different franchises.
Hey, let's take a knee.
1, 2, 3.
Now, was there a need for that, as far as for the whole thing about being a championship coach. Listen, I have nothing against Andy Reid. Obviously, he's done an excellent job both with the Eagles and with the Chiefs. He's been able to win 2 Super Bowls with it. I wish that I would never have anything against Andy Reid. I mean, he tried. I know the last couple of years, a lot had to deal with personal reasons on why things didn't go well in Philly for him. Unfortunately, with his late son, and then the other one who just never seemed to get his act together. The other one that was trying to clean himself up, but unfortunately he fell off the wagon again and didn't do so well. But everybody knows in Philadelphia, Andy will always be loved. Will he, when it comes time for retirement, is he going to retire as an Eagle? Probably not. I'm quite sure he's going to retire as a Kansas City Chief because he's won 2 rings there. Would I blame him? No. Will I hate it? Yes, as an Eagles fan. But again, not really. Because again, Andy did the best he possibly could in Philly. And my hat off to him because he's done well for Kansas City. I don't think, and I'm trying to go back to maybe Marty Schottenheimer, maybe earlier than that. I mean, you're maybe, am I wrong, Ryan? Or is that probably the 2 most stellar coaches that KC's ever had?
Well, Hank Stram won a Super Bowl.
That's true.
The first Super Bowl, and obviously Andy just passed him for most career wins as a coach for Kansas City. And look, Andy in his personal life with his sons and stuff like that has had to deal with a lot. He's tried to remain humble. He's had to deal with all of that. His tenure with the Eagles, again, all those NFC championship games, 1 Super Bowl appearance. It's not like they got blown out in that Super Bowl either. I mean, Terrell Owens was playing on a broken leg, for Christ's sake. So, unfortunately, with the way the NFL was back in those days, which is almost 20 years ago now, they ran into some buzzsaws. They just didn't have, the football gods were not like looking upon them, if you will. And he was called too conservative in Philly, and he's in Kansas City. And sometimes, like, I look at Andy and say, what the hell was that? I know it wasn't conservative, but you get too cute sometimes. So, but look, 2 Super Bowl victories. He's already cemented himself in the Hall of Fame. So, again, congratulations to him.
Yeah. It's, again, he's going to, I don't know how much longer, if for all hypothetical reasons, let's just say Kansas City does not make it to Super Bowl this year. Will Andy Reid say, you know what? I really need to kind of evaluate my time here. I know I've spent a lot of time away from my wife. Obviously, my one living son, God bless the other one, unfortunately passed away in Lehigh just before they were getting ready to make that move finally back to Philly. But does he, I mean, truly, right, he's got nothing else to break. In truth, in the NFL, he really doesn't. You got 2 rings, and you're fortunate to walk away with 2 rings. You're a guaranteed Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer at that. So do you just take it at the end of the season and just really take a step back and look and just say, you know what, maybe it is. Maybe it's just time for me to say, all right, you know what, I've done everything I've set out to do. I've won 2 championships. Do I come back for one more season and try to do it again? Or do I just say, let me just go ahead and pass the torch on to somebody else?
If Patrick Mahomes were your quarterback, would you contemplate retirement?
Not really.
So the only one on this team that's really getting up there as far as the positions go is Travis Kelce. We said last week that the article came out about, him, it's weighing on his mind about retirement. He has 2 Super Bowl wins as a player, but the rest of the team's young. Mahomes is in his prime. Isaiah Pacheco, young. Rashee Rice is stepping up to the plate, young. Sky Moore, young. Noah Gray, Justin Watt, all these guys are young, even on the defensive side of the ball. A little bit older than the offensive side.
Right.
But I think if they make a deep run, I don't think they're going back to the Super Bowl. Yes, people, I said it as a Chiefs fan. There's something about this team that just isn't clicking on all cylinders week in and week out. If I'm him, I'm just going to kick back and say, you know what? I'll give it one more year and see how I am after next year. So I thought he'd retire after last year, but he didn't. So we'll just see.
All right. So if you had a thing, place your finger on what changed from the last 2 weeks to this week against Vegas? Because in the beginning of the game, it honestly looked like Vegas was going to run away with it. But then obviously Kansas City found a way to come back and score 31 unanswered points. So what was the difference within the last 2 weeks?
They got punched in the mouth, and they could have laid down, and they didn't. It was almost like they needed a punch in the mouth. For some odd reason, I couldn't figure it out. I'm sitting there watching the game, and then I texted you after them being up before. I'm like, this team stinks.
Yeah.
And I put on Twitter, I'm like, this team is playing like they're not going anywhere, and they're buying into it. And I don't know what clicked. I don't know if Andy said something to him on the sideline, but just it was almost like they got punched down in the first round, and they were like, nope, not tonight. We're going to win this game tonight. And I was glad to see it because I was worried there. After the first 12, 13 minutes, I'm like, here we go again.
Yeah.
Here we go again. And I thought to myself, if they lose this game and Denver wins, Denver's a game out of first. And it was almost like they caught wind that, Denver was beating Cleveland and that they were going to go 6-5. And it was almost like, again, what I don't like, Angel, is this. All the commercials in the offseason, Taylor Swift, all these outside distractions that are going on. And it's easy to get big heads, and it's easy to get full of yourself because you won with what you had last year. They did nothing in the offseason to shore up some things, and it's almost like they said, we won it last year with this team, we'll make a deep run again. And you can't think like that in the NFL, especially when you have a target on your back week in and week out as a Super Bowl champion. And the Eagles know it too. The Eagles make the Super Bowl. They're 10-1. They are hungry. They want to get back to where they want to go. They want to finish the job. And again, it's that hunger. It's that passion. It's that we've got to play week in and week out because the Eagles they're going to take everybody's best shot. So I'm glad they got the win, but this team still makes me nervous.
I think I'm going to agree with a couple of things you said because again, we saw the year after the Eagles won the Super Bowl 2018. They got hung over from the 2017 season. You can't do that. Kansas City, I didn't see it when they won the first one with Mahomes. Obviously, they're second one as a franchise. So I didn't see it. I didn't see the Super Bowl hangover because obviously they were thirsty enough to get back there. But yeah, all like the COVID, flu shots, blah, 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 Mahomes, Mahato, all that stuff. It is a little bit too much. And I think if you really want to focus on what's going on, and Andy Reid's in them as well. I mean, he had the one commercial, State Farm, he was up in the airplane. The one as a recent, I think they were at his office, whatever the case may be. And listen, kudos, I guess, to them because they won the Super Bowl. That's what they ended up doing. But I just don't see them going back this year. I don't. And people can get upset if they want to, but I don't see them going back. Sean comes in and it says, I see him running off in the sunset because it looks like everything he has accomplished. Do you agree? I don't think so. Unfortunately, I don't. I think Andy, if anything, at the end of the season, Andy is going to take a hard look and he's going to just reevaluate and again, as I said earlier, just for hypothetical purposes, it could be where he just takes a look. For all intents and purposes, they don't make it to the Super Bowl, and he says, all right, do I have one more year left in me? What do I have yet to accomplish? Do I walk away with 3 rings? Do I walk away with the 2 that I have? Do I walk away with the most wins in Chiefs history? Hell, he's got probably next to Don Shula, almost damn near the all wins of all time at this point at the rate that he's going. But I think, Andy obviously revamped himself 10 plus years now with Kansas City. They had 10 years with Philly. And I mean, he's been a miraculous coach. So I don't think, Sean, that he goes away altogether. I just don't see it. Andy, to me, is not that kind of guy who would just get up and take off.
Yeah, I mean, they've made, 6 straight AFC championship games, and they have 2 Super Bowls, made another one, and they lost. I get it. But if he doesn't make a deep run in the playoffs, let's say they don't make the AFC championship game, he won't want to go out like that. Now, some coaches and some players stayed too long, and like to Sean's point, he has nothing left to prove. But it's like he said after last year, I'm 62, 63, but the mind is still young. This team keeps him young, and the team would want him to come back.
They would. That they definitely would. Again, if you guys want to call into the show, text into the show, or make your live comments, do so at 844-644-8669. Once again, 844-644-8669. And if those want to know what 8669 stands for, no, it's not some crazy position. It is Tony. Simple. 844-644-TONY. See, I knew I'd get you. So this next video clip here that you guys are about to hear over the radio and here on X as we're making a test stream tonight, you guys are going to listen to Nick Sirianni post-game locker room talk. And again, sometimes you get chills and other times you just wonder what Nick is going to say. So here's Nick post-game.
Everyone. Listen, like, we never know what's going to happen. Zach went down. Christian, you came in and made some great plays, right? Lane had to be down, right? And Jack, you played your ass off. Yeah. Probably another big return. Jalen played a great second half, all right? Josh Joe made some big plays. Guys, it took everyone, and that's why this is the greatest team sport there is. Hey, and let's congratulate BG for his 189 days.
So Brandon Graham getting a game ball as he should, 189 games. I'm glad because I know at one point after the Eagles won a Super Bowl, they were really thinking and contemplating would they get rid of Brandon Graham. So it's great to see they actually kept him around. AJ from San Antonio says, if you don't see KC going to the Super Bowl, who then? Baltimore would be the only other possibility besides Miami. All right, I'll give you my answer here. Ryan, I'll let you answer that one first.
I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Texans.
But the AFC better watch out for Denver. I know it's a long shot. I get it. But from where they started off the season to where they are now, nobody wants to play them right now on either side of the football. You might maybe throw Jacksonville in there, probably Baltimore. I'm still not a big believer in Miami. But if there's any team right now that's on a hot streak, it's riding that wave, it's the Broncos.
All right. See, to me, Miami, and to get to AJ's point here, Miami should go to the AFC Championship game. But we've seen that Miami cannot beat a team over 500. And that's kind of frightening if you really think about it. Now, on the flip side, DeMeco Ryans and the Houston Texans, you can't sleep on them either. Because, again, C.J. Stroud has been putting on a really good game, came up short this past weekend, came up, a doink short. But, I mean, Texans, could I see them possibly, in the playoffs? I could. Could I see them making a run if they continue to do and play the way they're playing right now? A great possibility. If Buffalo finds a way to turn things around, which I think, okay, and AJ, and I'm asking this question to you as well, the same way to Ryan. If the ESPNers of the world, the NFLers of the world, if they didn't choose Kansas City to go right back, obviously a lot of them had also picked Cincinnati, would anybody have chosen for the Bills to go and represent the AFC side, Ryan?
This year?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't have, just from the standpoint they don't have a running game. Their running game stinks. Josh Allen makes too many mistakes. Stephon Diggs will probably want out of there after this year. I'm calling it now. You heard it first. November 27th, 2023 at 7:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, no, there was too much unrest in the offseason coming into this season. They had a chance to sign maybe Dalvin Cook, play with his brother, but no, they do not have a running game. Josh Allen is the running game. So, no, not Buffalo.
Okay. Well, I know, obviously, KC, who didn't think they were going to get back there? The way they looked last season, and again, I don't know what they did to Patrick Mahomes to repair him. My only fear with Mahomes, as he continues to get older, and he continues to get all these super miracle, air quotes for those who can't see on the radio, super miracle drugs, it's going to catch up to him. Again, we bring up Junior Seau over and over again. I don't know what they did, but obviously they made him into the $6 million man in the second half of the Super Bowl to turn around and win the game the way he did. So he's been a little banged up this season. But if Casey's planning to make that magic carpet ride again, he's going to have to remain healthy throughout the rest of the year. So, again, we'll see. I believe AJ did make a comment on Twitter. I have to take a look and see because as I have many feeds going up all at once here tonight. I believe he had mentioned somewhere that he was going to call in. I'm not too sure, but I have to go back and take a look. I'll make sure I respond back to you, AJ. But thank you for AJ for tuning in the same way with Sean and everyone else. We've got about 4 minutes, maybe 3.5 minutes before we get completely hard out of the airwaves here.
You're going to take him off the screen?
Yeah. Well, when we get kicked off. But for those who want to tune in, by the way, right after here, over on the Broad Street side of the house, where I become now the producer, and Ryan will be on with Lloyd Vance, with Lloyd Vance's Insider Football on Sports Radio 102.9 The Game. So if you guys want to check that out, you can go over to the broadstsouth.com page, click on the over on live shows and radio, and then you guys will be able to watch the live show over there with Lloyd Vance, because I'm pretty sure he'll be a little bit fired up. And then joining him tonight will be Ryan. Lloyd does not have a guest tonight, so Ryan will be his guest for this evening. So, and I'm quite sure he'll probably just jump on his nerves. But the great thing is on that show is I can actually mute Ryan's mic. I could do it here, but I don't do it to him because, of course, obviously we have a lot of fun with each other here. But thank you all for tuning in tonight. We really do appreciate it. Hopefully you guys had seen the entire stream on X, on Twitter. Thank you guys for retweeting and liking it. Those who would like to follow us, Ryan is the Neff Ski on Twitter, the Neff Ski. You guys type in Ryan Neff. There'll be a bunch of Ryan Neffs that are going to come up. Just take a look where it says the Neff Ski. So that is him. And then you guys can follow me as well at Broad ST South Pod. AJ says, I wanted to call in, but couldn't. Just giving props up on the show. I appreciate it, AJ. Trust me. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for hanging around after Tony's show to come over and listen to our show. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. Once again, thank you to Debbie, the producer over on Studio B, for Ryan here this evening, for you, the listeners, for tuning in and listening on the app. Don't forget, by the way, this past weekend, everybody knows it was Black Friday, and the app, Tony had a 100% free sale because it is absolutely free to download the app, so you guys don't miss it. And if you do have the Live 365 app, make sure you go over and mark on your favorites the Tony Bruno Sports Network. So that would being said, as we exit out here, I don't even know, what do I want to exit out with? I don't know, maybe a little Greyhound as we get out of here. But
9 to 5, how to make a
I tried to find it. I couldn't find it. So yeah, maybe we'll lead in with it tomorrow or something else. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in tonight. We do appreciate it. We got about a minute to go here. Don't forget Pete Shepard in the morning from 7 to 10 a.m., followed by Defo and Luby from 10 to 12. The best of between 12 and 3. Tony Bruno and Miss Robin with the Tony Bruno Show from 3 to 6 p.m. And then myself and Ryan F. right back here tomorrow night, 6 to 8 p.m. Thank you all. And don't forget, as we always say, if you're going to drink, do not drive. And if you do, make sure you do arrive alive. Hand the keys to someone. Hand it to your date. Hand it to someone. Just don't get behind the wheels because you want to make it home just like the person on the opposite side of the road. So with that being said, thank you all. We'll see you all, or at least hear you all tomorrow night. When we were coming back on here, I couldn't hear a damn thing. I'm like, this freaking sucks. So in the very beginning, no one could hear anything. Like Debbie came in the first time, but I thought when she looked at her phone, I'm like, all right, I think it was on, but nope, I couldn't hear a damn thing. So that was a good guesstimate.
Shizzle happens.
Yeah, it does. So nonetheless, I guess as I ended the broadcast here on this side, I sent you the link for the other side of the show. So I will see you